Hello and welcome to the last episode of season 1 of the Quarantine Happy Hour, the podcast where I talk about whatever topic I feel like talking about on each episode, and I also have a drink as well. I'm your host, Anais Lucia, and today, unfortunately for the last episode, I don't have any special drink because I'm filming this a little bit too early and I have some other things I need to do where I, have to be completely sober. So today we are going to talk about Indian matchmaking with my friend Kay Montgomery. She was on a few episodes back. We talked about Love is Blind, and I wanted to bring her on and talk about Indian matchmaking, the show on Netflix. In case you haven't seen it, it's only 8 episodes long. And I was, not from the Indian culture, and I was really curious about it. So let's bring Kay on and talk about the show. Hi, Kay. Thank you so much for coming on again. You're going to be like my dating show co-host because you were on here for Love is Blind. Now Indian matchmaking. Yep. So
Cameron and Lauren did an episode of Awkward Conversations with a Black Guy. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't seen it.
One specifically on interracial couples.
Nice.
And did Lauren and Cameron and another couple.
Oh my gosh, I have to watch it.
Yeah.
I love them. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a like if you also like Lauren and Cameron. All right, so this show might be a little bit more controversial. I mean, Love is Blind wasn't really, but it had some people that were universally hated, but this one seems to be a little bit more controversial. So we're just going to talk about our thoughts on the show first, and then some of the criticisms of it. And at the end, we'll end on a lighter note with some Indian matchmaking memes I found, because memes are fun. And if you have some strong thoughts about the show and maybe want to come on, we can, definitely do a part 2 and share, and just talk about it. So, Kay, let's start with you. What did you think about the show? Anything that stood out? Some of your favorites, some of your, just overall, what did you think?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. When I tell you I was hooked from the first episode, and I don't usually watch a lot of dating shows, and especially not dating shows back to back to back, like binge watch. But I ended up binge watching it because it was so captivating. All the characters, even if I didn't like them, were so engaging. I wanted to see what they were going to do next, even if they drove me crazy. And then the characters that I really had an affinity for and liked, I wanted to see what was going to happen next with them as well. I guess my main criticism would be that there wasn't enough follow-up. So, some of the personalities, I should say, not characters because they're real people. So some of the personalities from episode 1 and 2 were just kind of fizzled. You saw them go on a couple of dates and you thought, oh, maybe it worked out. But at the end, it didn't tie it up neatly. You didn't get to see if it did work out. I wonder if most people did like I did, which was Google like crazy and try and figure out, if the matches worked. So sometimes that's what really got me. I didn't get to see the full circle and know what the people I particularly enjoy or didn't enjoy watching, what are they doing now type of thing. They were constantly introducing new people when they hadn't finished the story for other people that I was just as interested in. So that would probably be my main critique. What about you?
Well, I noticed that too, but the way I understood it is that I feel like once they found their match, they're like, okay, move on. Because I feel like that's why they ended with those people, where it was especially Nadia, which she was my favorite, and I was kind of bummed that they ended with her. But I think because she was happy, she found the guy, and I guess they were okay, well, now you're happy, you found the person, we don't need to that's not the point of the show. It's to find it's about the journey. It's not really your happy ending. So I think that's probably why they're move on. I don't know if that's the actual reason, but that's what I kind of understood from it. So yeah, I love Nadia because she was she was just someone I wanted to be friends with, just really sweet and positive and ambitious. But okay, there's a difference because a lot of I did see some people kind of defending Aparna because I thought Aparna was very negative. Like I could not stand her. I mean, towards the end, she kind of lightened up a little bit, which is good. But like then there was the other very ambitious one, Ankita, who had the kind of clothing line and stuff, and some people are saying, well, like, oh, Aparna, like, well, it's because she, like, so what's wrong with her being ambitious? And I'm like, that's not really the problem. Like, they're all ambitious, but you can be ambitious and be a nice person. Like, ambitious doesn't mean you have to be a bitch. I consider myself ambitious. I don't think I'm a jerk. Nadia's ambitious. She's super sweet. Like, just because you're ambitious doesn't mean you have to be a jerk and I felt like, just like, Messica on Love is Blind, Aparna would like focus on like little things. And just the way she would talk to people is very like condescending. Like everything the guy would say at the beginning, she would kind of like shoot it down. And I'm just like, girl.
So condescending. Like for me, it wasn't even that she was ambitious, because obviously she was. I mean, It was really funny that she's like, I've known I wanted to be a lawyer since I was 6. And then she meets a guy that's a lawyer, and he's like, I love it. And she's like, I hate it. Yeah. You were 6, but you hate it? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, oh my gosh. But it's consistently, that's what killed me about her. It wasn't even that she was negative. It was the fact that she was so condescending and rude to people. Like, she just didn't, socially, she just didn't interact well with people. And I felt like, I don't know if if it was because the cameras were there, do you think? But I thought that guys were really nice to her in return.
Yeah, I thought they were. Yeah, like, I didn't really have any problem with the guys. Like, and there's a way to kind of, I don't know, like, even if you don't like something, there's still a way to be kind of nice and civil about it. You don't have to, like, insult someone. And, oh my gosh, and then when she was like, she was on one day and the guy was like having a conversation with the waiter, and she's like, hello, you're with me, you're supposed to be looking at me. I would have thought that was a nice thing. I'm like, cool, he's friendly, he can like talk to anyone. And I was like, girl,
you don't want to talk to the waiter. Like, he can't make small talk with the waiter. Like, everything she was saying was like the opposite of what people normally say look for, because that's
no sense of humor. I was like,
I don't need that. When she said that, though, honestly, and I was like, oh, she's a different type of person. Like, she's a different kind of person. Because to straight up say to somebody, I don't like a sense of humor, which is something that is universally like across all cultures. Yeah. Like, she's a different kind of person.
Yeah.
She's very different.
I'm just like, I would be so bored. Like, okay, I guess I kind of agreed with Sima, the matchmaker, when was it her? I think that, or I don't know if it was her, the face reader that said that she wants a guy who's gonna be submissive to her. That's the kind of guy she wants, and I was like, no, I guess that's what she likes.
Astrology. I think that.
Oh, the astrology. Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess. I mean,
not right in the head. Sima said she's not right in the head.
Yeah.
Sima said something is wrong with her. She doesn't have it all together, or however she said it. Can I just say, Sima was a great anchor and grounding personality for this whole entire show. Mm-hmm. So while I was kind of disappointed that things didn't work out for people or whatever, I will probably watch it again because I would want to see Sima. She is, tell it like it is, but in the opposite way of Aparna, right? She will tell you straight up like it is in like the nicest, kindest way, but still like she's gonna run it to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And she's a very good judge of people, I felt like.
Mm-hmm. And I do have to say, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Prodhuman. Uh-huh. I thought he was really cute, but like his attitude was just like, again, a little bit. I mean, he was a bit more likable than Aparna, but like, just one of those that like I felt like the woman had to be like perfect supermodel and all this stuff, and I'm just like, like still kind of like little boy-ish kind of, that's what they want. So that's at least he's attractive. Okay, so I can kind of forgive it, but when you're like a huge slob and you're like, I want like lazy, and you're like, I want a supermodel, I'm like, no, you can't be asking for that.
But he was rude too on the first date, not the date he went out with the the second date where the girl lived far away from him, and she said, you know, I would come and visit you or whatever. And he was like, I would never come visit you. I wouldn't come to that little town that you live in. Like, no way. And I was just like,
oh my God, I totally missed that part. I didn't see that. What? Yeah, that would be a...
I would, like, no, at first, and she was like, and he was like, no, I would never drive out there. Like, no. And she was like, you can catch the train. And he was like, I wouldn't come out there, period.
Wow, okay. Bad,
I was just
bad.
Like, what? Yeah. That was the second girl, not the model actress girl.
Yeah.
Who, like, that was the other girl he went out with. But I was just like, oh my gosh, wow. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's also one of the criticisms of the show is that, like, I don't know if you should really blame the show. I don't think it's the show's fault, really, but just about how it kind of perpetuates this whole, like, thing about women that, like, that guys only want the tall, slim, you know, fair-skinned ones. And they, like, the ones that the younger guys ended up marrying were, like, the ones that look like models and all this stuff. But I'm just like, I think that's not really the show's fault because that's what the guys wanted. Like, blame the guys. Like, the show is just there to document it, and that's the reality. So maybe, like, take that up with men or, like, you know, who, like, they can't see past that. They only, like, they have to all look like supermodels or whatever. And I was like, I didn't like that's what they seem to want. But I was more like, to me, it was the guy's problem. It wasn't the show. Like, the show was just letting us know. And it did kind of made me, like, you know, I've never really known anyone who was in an arranged marriage or anything like that. So, you know, I've never experienced it. So it's kind of cool to kind of get an insight into what that's like now. But would I ever be a part of it? Heck no, because I want to be the one to make the decision. I don't need anyone else's input about who I'm going to marry. So those scenes with the parents drove me crazy because I wouldn't want that. But, like, it was just cool for me. Not cool as in, like, it's a good thing, but just good for me to see what that's like. And I guess for some people it works. They do want, you know, the parents' input, family. If that works for you, that's great. That's kind of how I feel. Like, if you're happy and if it's what you want, cool. I thought maybe it was, like, they were going to be forced. That's kind of what I would think when...
yeah.
And so, but then on the show, nobody seemed to be, like... I guess they were pressured, like the sons, especially like the last one. Was it Akshay, the one that was like rejecting over 100 women? He seemed pretty pressured.
Mom got exactly what she wanted, right? I was really surprised. Yeah, but not in the because I looked it up and they actually didn't get engaged, and they didn't stay together.
Oh wow! But she was driving me a little crazy because she like. I felt like she was just very overbearing and telling him like, oh, my blood pressure is my BP is going up and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're kind of doing that to yourself, girl. Like, if you would just let him live his life, like, and not worry about it, then, but it's a culture, culture's different. So,
right.
Yeah. But I do have to say, oh my gosh, I don't know how to pronounce his name either. Vyasar, I think, the school counselor. Oh my gosh, yes. Just shout out to him. So sweet. I hope he found someone because the last one, it was Rashi. Yeah, Rashi. They seem really cute. Did they last? Well, I do have an article I pulled up with updates, so we can check it out. It's a Yahoo News article, so let's see what the update is on Nadia. On the show, event planner Nadia, who is Guyanese and lives in New Jersey, initially hit it off with Shekhar. Oh, she's on Instagram. Follow her. We're going to follow all of them. Okay. Oh, so this is kind of the last shot we saw of them. And
I think it's nobody ends up together. Keep going.
But they're no longer together. Being off camera definitely changed the dynamic. Oh, wow. Obviously, the change was not positive, she told LA Times. It helped me learn more about myself and what I'm looking for in a future partner. Dang. Oh, were they playing it up for the cameras? Oh, my God. Now, Nadia seems like she's just out there living her best life. Oh, I'm going to follow her. Oh my gosh, look at that suit.
I love her energy too. Wasn't she like so positive and fun?
Yeah, definitely.
I was devastated with the first guy.
I was so mad that he like stood her up 2 times.
You know, he wrote his side to that. They interviewed him about that, and he said that's not how it went down.
What? So you think she lied? You think she lied for the cameras?
So this is what he said. He said in an interview, and then he posted to his Instagram already. BT Dubs, he got a Black Lives Matter tattoo on his arm.
Wow.
Isn't that fascinating? Anyway, so he's like all for the culture. So he was saying that he was doing some hot yoga, and he became exhausted. He had to go to the hospital and get an IV in. That was the whole reason why he didn't like contact her or go to that thing. He said basically they were piecing in stuff at the wrong time. So he did talk to her and was able to tell her like, I'm so sorry I wasn't able to make it. He said he canceled that whole thing happened in the morning, and they tried to make it seem like she was waiting for him at night, and he said that wasn't true. And then he said the next time when she was supposed to like be with all her friends, you know, when she calls him, he said they totally like reshot that. That's not how it happened at all. He did end up showing up. Him and his sister got into an argument, but he did end up still showing up and meeting one of her friends. I guess maybe he was just like really late. Yeah. So he said that they reshot stuff on him and edited around it just like kind of to make him look bad. He said he was still reaching out to her, and she's the one who was just like, no, I'm not dealing with him anymore. He didn't ghost her. He said she ghosted him because the last time their plans fell through or whatever, and he met the one friend, she was still mad at him. And so he kept trying to reach out to her because he still wanted to date her. And she was like, no, she was done with him by then. And then afterwards, she made a comment to that and said, basically, he did keep trying to contact me. But at that point, I didn't want anything else to do with him because he had, kept letting me down. So if he considers that me ghosting him, then I guess that's what it is. So there's a little bit of drama and conflicting stories around that part. So I don't know.
Can't always believe what you see on shows.
Right? I was like, interesting. I feel like Akshay and Vyasar were like 2 ends of the spectrum. Because what I thought was really interesting in Vyasar's case was that he was dating, is it Mashi? I can't remember.
Yeah, the first one.
And they seemed like they had a real connection, and they were dating long distance over Zoom. And then I like that they got into like the concrete, like things of like parenting and finances. And these were just things that they didn't agree on. So they broke up. And then he started to date someone else. So I feel like he's far on this, like, because he's deciding for himself, right? Like they met each other's families, but like they were doing the real, like hardcore dating work. It wasn't just like, okay, I want to marry you, I'll go along with this. Kind of like when it came to Akshay's side, where it was like their parents met, they were on the phone talking about what, dogs or something. They had that quirk, which was hilarious. It just was like, Akshay, bless his heart, it's just really awkward. But it was like, our parents like each other. She's pretty. Okay, I'm going to propose, So it just seemed like very different. It's all Indian matchmaking, but some people just have more of a say, I guess, depending on how hardcore their families are than others.
Yeah, and also I think it has to do, another difference is that I think Vyasar, he lives in the US, and then he also like he's older, I think, as well. And actually I thought it was so weird just because he went from like rejecting like 200 girls to like picking one really quickly. I was like, what? Like it felt like it was like out of no, I'm like, what? You just met her and already like I picked the one. I'm like, that was so quick.
That's weird. His mom, the queen of guilt, when they were out to dinner, she was like, your brother cannot have a baby until you get married. I was like, what?
Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
That mom She probably was my favorite mom. She was so funny. She had the blood pressure machine in the kitchen, girl. The levels of guilt that she went through. She had the trunk that had all the jewelry and saris she had bought the daughter that she hadn't even had yet. I was like, that poor daughter and other daughter-in-law probably wants him to get married so bad, so some of that pressure is off of just her, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really liked her, though. I don't know. I thought she was funny.
I'm just glad she's not my mom. That's all I have to say. So let's see what happened with Pradhuman Malu. Let's see. Ultimately was not a match. We had different paths in life, and we respected that and moved ahead. I'm still looking for the right one. Oh, okay. Call me. No, I'm just kidding. He went on
like a little step on the side.
Well, I have to see if he grew up, if he's a little bit more mature. He also went on Instagram to clear a few things up. Okay. Oh. He said that he and Rushali did keep in touch, however, long distance didn't allow us to explore our individual sides and communicate organically. We were in different stages in our life, so we decided to move on. The two are still friends. Okay, so there you go.
Interesting.
So that's his whole statement. If you want to check it out, go follow him. Oh my gosh.
I wonder if she would say the same thing. Interesting.
Yeah. So Aparna, let's see what happened with her. Let's see. Remember the astrologer also said she was gonna get married like in June or something like that. So let's see. Aparna went on a lot of dates. She ultimately
went on a date.
She didn't end up with anyone. They were all wonderful people. They just weren't the one for me. Okay. She
went on a lot of dates. For that, I will give her that. She wasn't like a lot of the guys that were picky and wouldn't even and just pass on people. She actually went on a lot of dates and was rude to people in person.
She was a fan favorite, really? Okay, not for me. It's been a roller coaster since okay, let me say. If she was your favorite, I need to know why. What, are you also negative and condescending to people? Because if that is a majority, you need to stop that. I'm just saying, like, that's not a good way to be.
She was my favorite to watch, even though I didn't.
Okay, if it's that way, that's why I want to know why. If it was your favorite to watch, okay, but like because you think that's cool to like be rude to people, no. Like I just want to know from other people. I know Kay is not rude and condescending, so. She said that she still keeps in touch with a lot of people from the show. I talk to Shekhar every day, especially in the 7th months. He's been a big support.
Who would talk to her every day?
She also texts other people. Texts Jay and delete from pretty much every day, too. What? Ankita like other cast members too, maybe? She says she speaks to Manisha and Nadia here on the stateside. Okay, Rashi's reached out, so some of the girls too. Okay. But she also, so she's in touch with some of the girls from the show and her dates too, I guess. But why? Like if do you just want to be friends? I don't know, but okay. I have guy friends too.
I love Bias. Now, see, that's someone that I will follow because I just thought he was so fun. You could tell he was like everybody's favorite teacher at school or school counselor.
Yeah. He was just more like relatable, not like from a rich family or something like that.
Right.
Oh, he's still single. Matchmaking is really tough. Both people I was matched with were truly wonderful, inspiring individuals who I'm proud to call friends. Oh, he's still so sweet. Ultimately, things didn't work out, but I'm grateful for the memories. Got recognized in public for the first time today. That was cool. Let's see. Dear internet, please stop being so thirsty. My students are getting scared. Mr. Genny sent, please tell people to stop making thirst memes about you. It's traumatizing me. Dang. Oh, well, that's sweet though. Like you got some options, so come on, let's go.
I love that. You could tell his students really loved him and worked for him.
That's something that I really love, the way he talked. They talked about him and they just wanted him to be happy. I'm like, oh, that says a lot about him, about how good of a person and teacher, and you could just tell he cared about them as more than just he's just a really, I think he's gonna be a really cool dad. So someone make him a dad now. Huh?
Could you imagine That would have been a disaster. Him and Aparna on a date. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Poor.
He's so fun.
If she would insult him, it would crush my soul. I'm like, stop! He's so sweet. You better not. But he also wouldn't take it. He's not like a pushover either. Like, he's nice, but he wouldn't put up with that. He'd be like, okay, I guess it's not a match. Like,
I think he was favorite. Don't you think? I think Viastar was Sima's favorite match to make, because every time she talked about him, she would be like, he's a great guy. You know, he's so funny. He's so personable. Like, yeah. Some people you could tell kind of tested her patience more than others, you know? And that was funny to see. It was funny.
Her reactions were pretty funny. It's like, okay. Although, like, when they're telling her all their requirements, she's like, oh, all right. Just like, okay. It's a little unreasonable, but all right, you're paying me, so I'm just gonna nod my head. So let's... Yeah. Akshay, let's see, had the most serious and traditional experience. They're no longer together. They were never formally engaged or married. A few days later, there were some things which we found out that did not go down well with us, and eventually I called it off. Oh, wow.
What?
Maybe she, like, already had a boyfriend or something. A poor one.
Maybe she didn't like dogs like she said. Maybe.
Trust is something that once broken cannot be regained in a matter of days. It takes a really long time. I'd rather wait and be with the correct person. Okay, well, that's good.
Maybe she was out for money, because remember, Akshay was from a really rich family.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, maybe she, like... I feel like maybe she was already with someone, but who was poor. So she's like, let me, like, marry this rich dude. So, like, I'm just gonna marry him for money, but I'm already with my boyfriend that I actually love. So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we have to find her Instagram, see what she said.
Yeah,
Ankita, I understand the many preconceived notions associated with arranged marriages. Believe me, before going on Indian matchmaking, I had them too. At the end of the day, it all comes down to a connection. If it's there, you can't deny it. It won't matter how you two were introduced. Yeah, that's true. Follow her Instagram. I liked how, you know, how ambitious she was.
that people were calling her ugly. I was just like, what?
People were calling, wait, on the show?
No, well, she was saying that when she first tried to get matched, like when she was younger, they were saying, basically, people were saying she was ugly and it was going to be hard for her.
Yeah.
I was like, how?
Yeah, it's messed up. I think that's another reason why, like, people are saying, like, yeah, criticizing the show. But again, I don't think it's the show's fault. It's just that society, that culture. And I mean, that's like most cultures, I think now, like, they're very judgmental. But yeah, I don't think that. I think the show is just making us aware of it. It's not really the show. That's Ankita has been posting about the show on Instagram, including how stoked she was to become a meme. I'm finally a meme. Can someone please pass a tissue? Tears of joy. Yes, it's a good feeling.
Oh, that matchmaker lady, that made me realize how good we had it with Sima. Because this lady, I was like, girl, no. The stuff she was saying to Akita, the stuff she was saying to her. I was like, do you know who you're matching? You're trying to make her change her entire personality.
Yeah.
That's not her at all. Like, that was frustrating.
I'm glad she ended up just kind of going with her heart, and she's like, at the end, she's like, maybe I don't really need a partner right now. I'm going to focus on my career. I was like, that's good. You can always find someone later. It's better to, like, I don't know, do it when you're ready. Don't kind of rush it.
A mistake and regret it for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Let's see what the meme says. The matchmaker, he says, you know what, Ankita? I've got a real opportunity in Timbuktu. Absolutely. I spent many years building myself, right? Doesn't matter. I spent 20 years in living in one country and gave it all up like that. You narrowed down the conversation and your thought process, and you made women feel like inferior objects. Okay, so that's it. That's the status. So basically, nobody ended up with who they were with. Okay. Would you ever get a matchmaker for your daughters, or no? Or want to be involved in the process of selecting somebody? No.
I would love to be involved in the process.
Oh, okay.
I'm a very nosy person. I would love it. I would love it to be like, this one.
She got some ideas now. She's like, thank you.
Now, I like the idea. I think that a matchmaker isn't a bad idea. Like the idea of someone outside of you being able to match you up with someone who maybe you wouldn't have thought about before, or they just have a more a longer reach than you, because she knew thousands of people, hundreds of people or whatever. Yeah. So I kind of like that idea of someone looking from outside of yourself, assessing, and then like matching you up with someone else. Why not? People do. They let a computer algorithm do it. Why not let a person do it? Now, as far as moving on with the process, like meeting them and then getting engaged, like without really any choice, like that part I don't like. But the matchmaking idea, I think it's a solid idea.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something that they do here mostly. I mean, it's mostly for rich people because it's very expensive. But I mean, there's like the celebrity millionaire matchmaker. I mean, that's something even if I had the money, I don't think I would do it, just because like people would not pick someone I like. I know, like because I've had friends who like, I didn't ask them to match me up with anyone. But they like are not good at it. They would like say that I should meet this guy over like something stupid, like, oh, you both like this comic book. I'm like, so doesn't mean we're soulmates. Like, oh, you both like the color blue, and lots of people like the color blue. It doesn't mean like they're all my soulmate. Like they would just say like they thought that just like on really stupid things, that for really stupid reasons, that I should like meet this dude. I'm like, why don't you ask me what I'm looking for? Like, don't just assume because I like the color blue that like, oh, everyone that likes blue, that must be a good match for you. No. And just like physically, like people don't like, I guess like the people have told me like, oh, you should meet this guy. It's like physical traits that I'm not really attracted to. I'm like, do you even like pay attention when I tell you like, this guy's hot, that's my celebrity crush, they look nothing like this person? Like, why would you like? So maybe someone who would actually pay attention to my desires, yes, I will give you a shot. But like, if you're just gonna go off some dumb thing, like, no. And it's also very expensive, so they would have to be a very good matchmaker for me to like, give it a shot. But let's talk about some of the criticisms that I saw of the show. So some of the criticisms of the show, it's drawing criticism for its portrayal of the practice, as well as for seeming to endorse gender stereotypes, colorism, and classism. Makers of the show are facing a backlash on social media for failing to challenge the regressive beliefs that some participants espouse and state openly. And then Sima is also being criticized as well. But okay, I'm just gonna say like, this is kind of like a documentary show where it's like, it's just filming what's happening. Right. So the filmmakers aren't going to come out from behind the camera and be like, what you're saying is wrong. Like, obviously, like some of the stuff that were maybe I thought a little bit sexist, I didn't agree with it, but I didn't think the show was agreeing to it too. I think it's like a documentary. Exactly. It's just documenting what's happening.
That's how I felt too. And I felt because we aren't, a lot of us who are watching it aren't informed. We aren't Indian. We don't know the ins of the culture and ins and outs of the culture. It was interesting to watch. And my daughter and I said to each other, wow, when they said fair skinned a couple of times, like we know colorism runs throughout. I mean, it's in the African-American community. We know it's in the Indian community, but it was so interesting to see it just straight up, them saying like, oh, that's one of my preferences, that she's tall and thin and fair skinned. And we went, wow, colorism is strong, especially with the participants of this show. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that the show was saying this is a great thing or this is a bad thing. The show was saying, look at this. This is a thing, Yeah. And we as an audience have to judge, if we, our opinions on that or whatever. So I felt like the same way you did. It was a documentary. It's educational, well, not a documentary, but it was in a documentary style. Yeah. And it was showing us how the culture is. So,
and I feel like it would be doing a disservice if it like cut all that out, because you're cutting out the reality. Like, if that's the reality, I want to see it. I don't want to just see like the good parts, That's not right. Giving us a good picture. Then we would have a completely different idea. Oh, it's like super progressive when it's not really. So I would rather know the truth. So here's another a tweet from somebody. Indian matchmaking has normalized sexism, casteism, fat phobia, and colorism too. I recommend it 100% for hate cringe binge watching. Somebody else said, so who wants to join me in sending complaints to Netflix India about the blatant casteism and colorism in Indian matchmaking and also being sexist so much? This is where we can email, I believe. Again, I think it's the actual people that are espousing that stuff that I think you should be mad.
But to say show normalize colorism, sexism, and casteism, like patriarchy normalizes sexism every day. Like it's not only a Netflix show that does that. And the idea that it normalizes it, it's just showing us that it is normal and how it functions in the culture. So I think that's an interesting view to see. Like, do I agree with it? Of course not.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see because I didn't realize it.
Yeah, for those of us who, you know, are not from that culture, like I didn't get out of, you know, I didn't watch them be like, oh yeah, being fair skinned, that's the only way to go. Like, or, you know, yes, it's good. Every girl must be tall and skinny, and like, no, like I'm just like, oh, it just gives you an insight into how they think. And I'm glad that like I kind of have a better idea of that. And obviously not everyone thinks like that, but it was interesting to see that people nowadays, especially like the, I guess, parents, and they still have these like antiquated ideas, but also it's a different culture. I'm in America, you know. So here's another tweet. Why are people bleeping on Indian matchmaking for being sexist and casteist? The show is simply holding a mirror to the ugly society we're a part of. Also, here's an underrated dialogue from the show. Needs more traction. So I think it's like one of the parents, or no, was it, who was he? I forgot.
You know how they have the two couples at the top of each show? I think he was one of those from those pairs.
Okay. And so he says in English, how's, in the subtitle it says, how's very good in the bed. Okay. Not really sure what that scene is in reference of, but I only watched it once, so I don't remember every single thing, but I kind of agree with what he's saying. That's more just like documenting what's happening, holding up a mirror, and if you see a problem that's reflected in there, you can try to work on it.
And I think it's interesting because it isn't like The Bachelor, right? Where The Bachelor creates this situation where it's 25, women vying for one man. They created this, the system, the show is inherently problematic for those reasons. This is just how people are functioning inside their culture. The show hasn't created this universe where people interact like that. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah, like Love is Blind, that was created for the show. Like that was this. Yeah, it's not like that was something that was already happening and they're like, let's make a show about people dating in pods. They created it for that reason. And this is just like, well, this is what's happening, so let's just show people what it's like.
Right.
So
the criticism of the show, I don't,
if you disagree with us, if you have another point of view, let us know. And, you can DM me on Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know in the comments. Also, there is a documentary that Sima is kind of featured in. I didn't know. I just found out about it right before the show. That apparently her daughter is in it. And I think she's featured in it as well, where it's apparently on Netflix. It's called A Suitable Girl. And it follows 3 young women in India struggling to maintain their identities and follow their dreams amid intense pressure to get married. So apparently Seema's daughter is one of the 3 girls in that documentary. So
could you imagine the pressure for Seema's daughter as the daughter of a matchmaker? Like, I'd be interested to watch that.
Yeah, now I have to watch it now that I wish I would have heard about it before the show, so I could have watched it before, but I just found out about it now. So apparently she's pretty popular, and I mean, I would think so. She only works with like rich people. She must be, making that dough.
That's why I was kind of glad to see her with Vyasar, who's a school counselor. I was getting kind of sick of seeing shots of people's Benzes and people shopping at Armani and them talking about how much they vacation and how much they travel. And I was kind of tired of that. So I was glad to see them go with just like a working class person.
Yeah. So Vyasar, your favorite, and Nadia. I thought they were so cute. They're our favorites. Before we get on to the memes, is there anything else you want to say about the show?
Did I already talk about? Okay, I saw a few critiques or people dragging other people online. I think there was like a whole thread on Pradam because people were saying he's gay. And so thing that I don't, because he had they had like clips of him being like I love my closet, and references to him like being closeted or whatever. And then he had that goddess doll that he would dress up and it had all that closet full of clothes. And that's a religious thing, but people were like, he made all the clothes, blah blah blah. I'm not going to call somebody out for their sexuality. That's something for someone else to do, for them to express themselves. And, I don't think it's appropriate to be like, oh, he's closeted and gay. But what it did make me think about was, I know that society is really traditional, but would there ever be a way that maybe gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender plus people could do matchmaking in the same way? So if you had a gay son and he wanted a husband, is there a matchmaker that does that?
Yeah, that's true. It'd be interesting.
I just thought that would be interesting.
Wow, I never thought about him being gay, but because I know guys who are straight and they care about their clothes and wearing nice things, and
yeah, really, my brother's like that, very fastidious.
Yeah, I just wish people would stop thinking that just because a guy dresses well, he must be gay. Like, I feel like most people that say that, well, especially guys, are just jealous because they don't know how to dress. So they have to like tear down a guy who looks good. Like, he must be gay. It's like, no, just because you don't know how to dress well and he does, like, and also like you're saying gay as it's an insult, as if it's an insult, which is like, even if they were gay, why is that bad? So just when they're using it as an insult, just, yeah. Stop tearing down people because they dress better than you, okay? Just learn to dress. Watch some Queer Eye, okay? Everyone should watch that show. It's amazing.
It's on Netflix too. Watch them.
Yes. I want them to be my friends. All right, so now let's look at some Indian matchmaking memes. These are some of the ones I found so far. So, Sima from Mumbai believes strong and bold women are difficult and stubborn. No use working hard if stars are not aligned. First dates without parents will fail. Marriage equals adjustment and compromise minus basic expectations. So this is someone that I guess that doesn't like Sima, apparently. Oh, no. But okay, look, some people didn't like that she was talking about like compromise and stuff, but I feel like that is part of being in a relationship and marriage. I don't think she was saying it in a bad way, like give up your identity. I mean, I think it is a good lesson, especially for people who are very kind of like Aparna, who seems like they don't want to budge on anything. You have to learn. You have to learn to compromise if you're going to be in a marriage, or just any long relationship. So I don't think that was bad. I just, for me personally, I wasn't getting the message that she was saying, give up your identity. It's more like compromise is a necessary thing if you are going to be, you're not, I don't know. I feel like just Aparna wanted somebody who was like, I'm going to bow down to you and do whatever you want. You want a servant or a husband? Like, or, sorry. I want a partnership.
I thought it was interesting how she would go and talk. She talked to the face expert, the numerology person, and then the astrology person. And actually, those people were all pretty much on point.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, like, like interesting. Yeah. I think it was the astrology guy. I can't remember if it was astrology or numerology that said about Aparna, like she needs a partner that's going to be submissive to her. Yeah. That just really like rang true for me. I was like, that's it. Yeah.
I want to go to all of those for me. I want to see what they're going to say. I was like, dang it, can I find one?
window is open. Your window is open.
Is my window still open? I don't know. I need to know. All right, next meme. So this is a Netflix related one. When someone says Stranger Things is better than Dark, I will talk to you never. Okay. I don't even know that show.
Funny. She said that I will talk to you never.
Yeah.
She had some great one-liners. They were shocking, but just so funny.
Oh, I will say that I do think Aparna gets a lot of her personality from her mom, because her mom seemed very similar. Like, I thought it was really messed up when she called the first guy like a loser. I was like, what? She called him a loser. I'm like, I didn't really think he was a loser. Jeez, so harsh.
Yeah, he was an author. He had written a bunch of books. He just was trying to figure out his next steps, and she didn't like that. He didn't know what he was going to do next, so automatically, like, he just got thrown to the side. I was like, you had a fun time with it, like a good time with him. Like, I don't. Yeah, but then you see a lot of the reasons why she is what she is why she is the way that she is because of her mother and father and their relationship, and then her mom, intense attachment to her daughters after that marriage dissolved. She never remarried. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't want you to get 2 degrees. I want you to get 3 degrees, like that whole thing. So that was really interesting.
I wanted to tell that mom, can you like back off? just back off a little bit. I felt very smothered. So this is a post from Instagram account So Shanice thought. Dearest fellow Indians, we belong to a country whereby 90% of all the marriages are arranged. The matchmaking process reflects our Indian culture and has been followed since ancient times. But each coin has 2 sides, right? Then why do we never criticize things that happen around us, but never lag behind to criticize something that shows a mirror to us? If we want to criticize the series, we must learn to criticize ourselves. So that's kind of how I feel. Things to learn from Indian matchmaking. So that's what she posted. Pradum judge the maximum girls by looks on the first instance. Yes, we live in a prosthetic society where aesthetics have always been an overriding factor, so it's just, I guess, a reflection. Looking at Aparna, we realize that the idea of a perfect groom doesn't exist. It's better to wait for the best rather than settle for the rest. Okay, I agree with that. But you can also be nice about it. Akshay made us reflect on the fact that one needs to be headstrong and vocal of one's own choices. Yeah, he seemed kind of like just there.
His mom was very vocal.
Yeah. Vyasar taught us that transparency and trust are the foundations of any relationship. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He told about his dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We live in a judgmental society. Nadia taught us to be a bride only when the partner matches your vibe. Yeah, okay. That's good. From Ankita, we learned that before a better half, self-love and acceptance completes you as a person. Yes, that's true. Okay. Rupam was told that the options for divorcee are less, a bitter pill we all have been swallowing for decades, but she taught us that compromise doesn't always have to be lopsided. It may be a means, but not an end for any successful relationship.
Oh, we didn't really talk about Rupam.
Yeah, because she was like towards the end.
Towards the end. But I felt like her dad really did her a disservice in not even letting her meet the guy that Sima matched her with at first, which was a guy that had a child that was in the same situation as she was. But once the father found out that she had married an American woman, he was like, no. But they got a divorce. The dad was like, no.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that dad was just driving me crazy. As you can tell, I don't like my parents being so nosy and overbearing. Just because probably I grew up with that, so I need to be free.
That's why I love being nosy, because my mom was not nosy at all. She's very much live and let.
Oh no, I want live and let live. I didn't have that. So here's an Aparna meme. After surviving another office meeting that could have been an email, I'm like, get me out of here. Is my 55 minutes up? That was good. That was
funny.
At Talking Heels on Instagram, and then me giving up after 10 minutes into my workout session. Ultimately, my efforts are meaningless if the stars are not aligned.
I feel like I print that out and hang it up to make myself feel better.
Yeah. Oh, why do Indians hate Indian matchmaking? Let's see. Has been called cringeworthy and regressive by Indian viewers. So are the show's so-called stereotypes still very well, Yeah, it's like a mirror nobody wanted to look into, exposing the truth. There's a large section of Indian society that still engages in this toxic tradition. Okay. Yeah, denial of the truth. Yeah, so kind of the same criticisms we were talking about. When I make a lit meme and it doesn't get much reach, ultimately my efforts are meaningless if the algorithms are not aligned. Yeah, that's how I feel when I make a lit meme as well. Better like it. Okay. Season 2 of Indian Matchmaking. I just want a government that's honest, open, kind, and cares about everyone. And Sima says she is very rigid. She will have to compromise. Oh my god. That's me. I'm that girl. I'm the one that's saying, I just want a government that's honest, open, kind, and cares about everyone. I'm very rigid. I will have to compromise. No! Bernie! It has to be Bernie! Okay, that's my rant. Alright. Sima meme. Another one. Ultimately, my efforts are meaningless if the stars... Okay, people love that line, apparently.
That's hilarious.
She has to compromise. Hello, my name is Sima Taparia from Mumbai. All right.
I love how she says it to everybody. I'm Sima from Mumbai.
She's so cute. I just want to hug her. When your BFF drunk texts her ex again, my BP gets high because of you. That's good.
That's real.
Yep. That is me. When my friends do stuff like that, that is me. I'm like their mom. I'm like, can you not? Like, get me the phone. Like, you are not texting your ex. Give me your freaking phone. Internet. You came onto Indian Matchmaking to promote your line. Me, what is it to you, you know? Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Get that promotion. So what? Promote your business. You're doing what's good for your business. Why not? Girl power. Okay. Whatever. At least she didn't, like, if she played with somebody's feelings and, like, married them for her line, okay, that'll be messed up. But, I mean, reality shows, they do give you good publicity. And if it's going to make you help you make some coin, why not? I'll be on it.
And I felt like she had to endure some bad parts. Like the one lady telling, like, the Indian matchmaker that wasn't Sima, their meeting together was traumatizing. Like, the stuff she was saying to her was awful. Yeah. Like,
yeah. You should be, like, supporting her. Girl power, like, her business is going to be successful. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, what about all those all the women who've been on Bachelor that have gotten deals and other stuff because of being on the show? Are you hating on them for that reason? I don't know.
That's right. Get your bag.
Yeah. Make that money. Why not? She's not hurting anyone. So, yeah, everyone keeps using that line about the stars not being aligned. That's so funny.
I love it.
Now I need to use it for something. And every time, like, I get ghosted by some dude, I'm just gonna say that. Ultimately, the stars are not aligned or whatever. Okay. When broker demands 2 months rent as more brokerage, that is really hitting me. Okay. What's Akshay's mom?
Perfect. My kid's school shopping today, and I feel like it doesn't matter how much work I do. If the stars are not aligned, they won't find out.
Oh. No, another Sima meme. My mom, when I forget to zip my pants. It cannot be tailor-made. You have to adjust. Okay. Then I forget to zip my pants. All right. So that's it. There weren't as many hilarious ones as Love is Blind because we didn't have a Messica. Nobody was as bad as her, so she was very meme-worthy. Well, I mean, we also found out that Mark wasn't a great guy after all. So.
Right. Now that also was a shocker. So they were actually meant for each other.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Just before we end, have you seen their new significant others? Jessica and Mark are with new people, but they look like each other. Like Mark's is blonde, like looks like Jessica. Jessica's boyfriend looks like Mark, and I'm just like, so you guys are just have a type apparently. So
that's weird.
Yeah, people were saying that in the comments, like, okay, he kind of looks like Mark, and then she kind of looks like Jessica. I'm like, wow, were you guys doing this on purpose to, like, get back at each other? It's just so sad. And it's like, get over it. Like, Jessica posted a picture of her and her man, and then I think the day after, Mark posted one with his new girl. And I'm like, okay, it's so obvious that, like, just ignore each other, okay? Just pretend you don't exist. Like, just stop with this drama. But I guess they do it for the clicks. But at least Mark was smart, and he won't tag the girl to protect her, which is good. because, everyone was going to go into the girl's Instagram account, probably attack her and, the haters. So at least I'm glad that at least he had enough respect to like keep her away from all of that. But it's just like kind of petty. Like, just how old are you guys? Like, I do want to say too, like, Jessica and Aparna on the show, they're both 34. I'm 34, and I'm just like, can we have any good 34-year-olds on here? It's always 34-year-olds, and I'm like embarrassed to be I'm so embarrassed to be this age now. I promise 34-year-old, like, all 34-year-old women are not like that. Like, maybe that's why I'm still single. I don't know. They're like, oh, you're a 34-year-old woman. No. You're not helping me, guys. Come on. Let's get some decent 34-year-old women on there who aren't jerks to dudes. That'd be great.
That's why you got to be on the new season of Love is Blind.
Love is Blind too. Call me. Keep me quarantined in those pods. I'll be good.
But you know they're going to make a quarantine love show. They've got to.
I mean, it's basically Love is Blind, but just maybe if they meet, they're going to have to meet like 6 feet apart with the masks. Hey! Won't be able to kiss for a long time. Hi, fiance. See you later. That'd be funny. Even if it's quarantine edition, I'll still do it. So give me a call, Netflix. Let's go. Thank you so much, Kay, for joining me for this discussion. And if anyone's, listening, watching, and you want to come on and discuss maybe something that we didn't talk about, let me know. Love to have you on if you experience Indian matchmaking. Be cool to hear, what you think, what you thought of the show. Thank you for listening, and thanks, Kate, again for joining me.
Thanks, Anais. Always a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so that is it for the last episode of season 1 of the Quarantine Happy Hour podcast. Yes, only 10 episodes per season on my podcast because I do need a break from the podcast just for my own mental health. And I also host several other podcasts, so, a break will really help me out. I hope to be back at the end of September, mid to end of September with season 2. I've already actually started filming episodes for season 2, so I'm getting a head start, okay? If you, miss me for some reason, if you just want more content from me during the break from the podcast, you can find me different places. There is the Quarantine Happy Hour YouTube channel where I have comedy videos as well as, podcast clips. So if you want to see some funny stuff I've made, I'm actually planning on some funny, interesting content that I'm going to film relating to celebrities. So if you like celebrities like Chris Evans, Jennifer Aniston, Henry Cavill, stay tuned to my YouTube channel because I will be filming some stuff regarding them on there, and I also do stand-up, so I have some stand-up comedy videos there as well. You can also follow my main Instagram, my travel YouTube channel as well, my Twitter, AnaitLucia7. You can also listen to my relationship podcast called How to Relationship, and then my podcast I do about my favorite band, Muse, called Musecast. So you can find those wherever you can find your podcast. Also follow Kay. Kate and her husband are actually on my How to Relationship podcast. So check it out there. Follow Kay as well. Links for everything, all her social media in the show notes and video description. Also, if you are tired of your bank because they charge you a lot of fees and you want a new bank, I highly recommend the bank that I use, Aspiration Bank. They're amazing. You get cash back on all your purchases. You get all your ATM fees reimbursed, which is awesome. All of them. No matter what ATM you use, you will get the fee reimbursed pretty quickly within like a week or so. So if you use the link in the show notes and video description to open up a checking account with Aspiration, you will get $50 cash and $25 to donate to an organization. So isn't that awesome? Come on, you're gonna get $75 and you get to donate those $25. So Aspiration has so many really cool features, so I highly recommend you bank with them instead of the other banks that are just like owned by or that give money to fossil fuel companies. So we don't want those banks. So Aspiration Bank is my recommendation. Thank you so much to anyone who listened throughout the season and all my random topics I decided to talk about. I appreciate it. And thanks again, Kay, for coming on. And I hope to see you back on season 2 of the Quarantine Happy Hour podcast. Stay safe, stay healthy, never settle, and do what makes you happy. Talk to you soon.